welcome back. This is another lesson of Red Hawk Media Virtual Academy. And I'm Mr. Hall, and thanks for joining us. We are back from spring break, and it was a long spring break, and it's only been like 14 days of quarantine, but it has seemed much longer. We had to find ways to keep ourselves busy around the Hall House and find things that we can do. Here's a little bit of what we did during our time since we were in the house and kind of stuck in the house and the weather wasn't all that great anyway. These are a few things that we went about doing. So here's a project that we've got. This is the kitchen, okay? And we had this wall that was up there and we decided to get rid of the wall and really open it up. And you can see that's the finished product there. That's where we kind of started with everything, tearing the cabinets off the walls, then breaking the walls down. And then my kids helped me out as well, so they got in on the
Go
action.
for it.
There's Ethan with his goggles on because safety is key to this kind of a project. Obviously, safety is key as you watch him swing the hammer there. But we were busy all break doing different projects like this around the house and just enjoying family time. And I hope all of you got a chance to do something like that. And now at this point, we're back. And for the foreseeable future, we're here, we're online. I'm going to continue to deliver this content at this time frame. Again, 9 o'clock live each day. And I'm going to continue to do mini lessons within the content. And those mini lessons will go through my coursework like they have been. So I'll start with Digital Media 2. I'll go to Web Design and I'll work my way through my schedule. Just tune in whenever you can. Get the information that you need. Now, a few things for all of the classes overall, and I'm going to make references to kind of come back to the beginning of this video here so you can see this stuff, but Wednesday is the end of the quarter. So for many of the classes, that means there was a project that we just wrapped up or we are in the process of wrapping up, and you're turning that in, and it's going to be a fairly big grade in that. And I want to make sure that given our circumstances here being live and being virtual, that we want to get that stuff turned in. So each of the classes I'll give a little bit of preview of what we've been working on, what you should expect to have done for the quarter, and then what will be going on to the next quarter as we look ahead to that fourth quarter to bring home the last part of the school year. Okay, all right, let's get started. First place that we're going to stop here is we're going to head on over to Digital Media 2. And with Digital Media 2, right now we're working in our game design. And, excuse me, I'm looking at my lesson plans here. For Digital Media 2, we're in Unity. And when last we talked on the second lesson of all this, we looked at Unity and we looked at some prefabs. And we looked at how those prefabs work, and we built a level of all of those. And that is actually the last thing that is on your grade for third quarter here. So make sure you hop onto Schoology. If you haven't yet, make sure that you submit level design, your first level design. Everybody did a screen recording of their level, and they did kind of a quick walkthrough. Some of them were 30 seconds. Some of them were really elaborate levels, and the video stretched on for like a minute or two, and they kind of walked us all the way through the level, and they looked really good. So that's kind of what we're looking for to wrap up quarter 3, and all of the content starting today is going to go into quarter 4, so that you're all ready for that. At this point, so that you can kind of follow along here, let's hop back into Unity. We're going to take a look at that. And let me bring that up here. Okay, and here is Unity. Okay, and what we're looking for in Unity is now we got a little bit of practice with some prefabs. Now we want to start to like customize this. We are going to make a 2D platformer game. That is our end game here. That's our goal. No pun intended. Maybe pun intended. Pun intended. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to take some of these prefabs that are very basic and they don't have any real, personality to them, and we're going to customize them. And that's what today's lesson's about. We're going to start with our level that we've been working on, and we're going to customize that. Before we get going too far here, I'm going to take you over to a website, and this website is GameArt2D. And let's hop over there. Okay, and it is GameArt2D.com. And as you can see here, let me head to the home site here so you can see from the beginning. This is what it looks like. This person or company, they are responsible for designing sprites. They do sprites for characters, they do sprites for tile sets, they do sprites for pretty much anything. And the nice thing about all of these sprites is that they are very well done and they're very consistent. And with Unity, they're very easy to work with. Now, these aren't the only sprites that you can use. You could pretty much use any sprites that you wanted. You could even create your own sprites, but there are difficulties to that, as you're going to see. So to begin with, try these sprites out. If you can't find anything that you like, then we'll venture outside of this area and we'll find other sprites that you can use. But these are quality and they're free. Now, that's the hang up here, because the ones that we're seeing on the home page here are being sold. They have a freebies area, so I'm going to go over to freebies. Once we're into the freebies, you can see here are all their different characters that they've got. And we'll come back to this area for the characters in a little bit, but we're going to scroll on down past that, and we're going to look at the free tile sets that we have going on here. Now, any one of these you can hop into. So let's say I want to have a desert themed game here. I can hop into this tile set. You can see there's a free download. It'll download into my browser, and then I can take that and move it into my game project. Now, I've already downloaded one of these. You should do the same. And then what you're going to be responsible for doing is customizing your level from top to bottom, so it has a completely different look to it. And those are the next steps I'm going to walk you through. So I've already downloaded this. I'm going to hop out of here. We're going to head back over to Unity. Okay, and there's Unity. And now with Unity, I've got my practice level open at this point. We are going to use the framework that is provided here with this practice game, because the character is pretty solid, all the mechanics are pretty easy, all the keys are already set up. It takes care of a lot of the scripting right out of the gates, so it makes it pretty easy to work with. And then we're going to supplement as we add on to this game and make it more and more functional. So continuing in this area, if we do some navigation here, and I'm going to bring this up so we can see it a little bit better, I'm going to hop down to the assets area. And again, just a quick once over on the assets, because it's been a little while since we've looked at this. When you look at the assets here, you've got the assets folder and then everything that we've put into our project so far. Now, we're working in the standard assets. That's where we got all these prefabs from. And what we want to do is we want to add on to some of the stuff that's already in there. So I'm going to just go to the 2D folder. And then in the 2D folder, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to the sprites folder. Okay, and you can see here are all the sprites that are related to my robot character and my platforms and all of that stuff. Now in here, I'm just going to create a folder. I'm just going to right click, create, and a new folder. Okay, and this new folder I'm going to call new tile set. You can call it anything you want here. All right, and then I'm going to go over to my desktop at this point. Okay, so hop out of here, head over to my desktop, and in that desktop, this is the folder that I downloaded. So I'm going to hop into that folder, and I'm going to, not all of them are organized exactly the same way, but they're pretty similar. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for the PNG folder, and then inside of that folder, you'll have all of your different folders organized according to background, different objects that are in your scene. You can see objects like bushes, different things like that that would be handy for designing a level. Okay, crates, stones, all that good stuff. And then on top of that, I have the tiles too. So you can see I've got all the tiles for making platforms and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to grab these three folders right here, and I'm going to drag them directly into my new tile set folder. So let's open up that tile set folder so I'm not dragging it into the wrong area, and just grab these and drag them in here. Now, those are all imported into my project. They are permanently in my project. They're not going anywhere. I can go ahead and close out this window. And now in Unity, I can go ahead and start getting to work on some of this stuff. So I'm going to just zoom in on my character. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a very basic platform. And you can kind of branch out from there to see different things that you want to do. So for instance, let's zoom in on Robot Boy here. And you can see here's one of the platforms. And the platforms are made up of several things, sprites, and then colliders. Okay, so we're going to make a new platform, and the way we're going to do that is I'm going to hop to my tiles, open that up, and in here I'm going to grab some of these tiles and drag them out here so that they're all organized nice and neat. So here's one of them. I'm going to go ahead and drag that out. Let me zoom out just a pinch here, and let me put this up to full screen so it's not distracting. Okay, and I'm just going to bring that over here, and then I'm going to bring in this one. Okay, and then let's bring in the other side to it, and there we go. All right, like I said, we're keeping it really simple, really basic tile setup. Now I can take these and I can move them around and I can drag them in here, and I can, just kind of spitball, how close these are and if they're lined up in that. Or I can go in and I can always use the transform of one of these and then be very precise about it. So I can click on this first one, go over, grab the Y transform, and just copy that. Now I can go to my second sprite here, and I'm going to make sure that this is exactly the same, and I'm just going to paste that Y value in there. So again, I'm over in the transform area. I copied the previous Y transform, and I'm going to paste the new one in there. And these two are now exactly at the same height. Now I can use my move tool here, and I can take this and slide it until there's no gap between them, and it helps to like zoom in during all of this. I mean, you can be really accurate as you zoom in, and now that one's all placed. Now I can go ahead and grab that other platform here, and I can slide that over and get it roughly into position. And I'm just going to paste that Y value into my transform. Okay, and now I can go ahead and I'm going to zoom in again and move this till it lines up exactly with what we're looking for. Okay, and now we've got a platform all put together. Now, if I go ahead and try to interact with this platform, let me show you what's going to happen here. Let's zoom out. We're going to take this platform and we're going to move it out of the way. Okay, and we're going to hop into play mode. And you can see I fall right through the platform. In fact, when I jump, there's no interaction with the platform whatsoever. So if you look at the previous ramp here that we've got, okay, and I click on that object, and then I take a look at some of the stuff that's going on in there, you can see that there are colliders that are on each and every one of these. So if I go over here in my thing, I've got my platform selected. There's the box collider that's on it. So that's what I'm interacting with my character. So we're going to add one of those to all of this. So I'm going to take these three pieces here, and we're going to keep it organized so that it's easy to work with. I'm going to create an empty object. So again, I'm going to zoom in over here. Okay, I'm going to right click, create an empty. I'm going to name this game object platform, and we'll just call it platform 1. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is this platform is the main object. Okay, I'm going to take these three things here, and I'm going to drag them into that platform. So now all three tiles, when I select this, I can move them all at once, so that's a little bit easier to move that whole platform around. Okay. The other nice thing about this is now on here are tile 1, 2, and 3. You can see from the move tool. Instead of adding a collider onto each one of these, which would be painstaking process here and time consuming, I'm just going to go to platform 1. Okay, zoom back out. I'm going to go over to my inspector with the platform 1 selected, and I'm going to add a component in here. Okay, and the component is a box collider 2D. So I'm going to add that on there. Now I'm going to edit that box collider. Okay, I'm going to zoom out so we can see this. There's my box collider, and let's zoom in a little bit so we can see what we're working with. And they make them the worst color. They're this light green. Half the time they blend in with everything that's on there. It's kind of frustrating. But you grab these little anchor points then, and of course we drag these out so that it's nice and accurate. We put them right on the edges of our platform here. Okay, so that everything that is being covered by this collider has reaction to our character. All right, so platform 1 is all set. So let's see if that's lined up with him. It is. We're going to hop in and test this out. And there we go. And we can see now we have a platform that we can now interact with. Okay, so that's the basic of setting up a platform. Now, if you want to set up something like the crates or any of that other stuff here, you're going to have to bring those things in and then go through the same process of kind of organizing them. Now, there are things, there are a couple things that are handy to know before you get going too crazy on the design here. And let me show you those. For instance, I mentioned that there was an object folder in here. In the objects, we have bushes. Okay, let's say I drag out this little bush here, and I want to place that into my scene. But I want my character to either run in front of it or run behind it. Okay, so we have that bush, and then let's say we have this mushroom in the scene as well. Okay, right there. All right, so now with that bush and the mushroom, we're going to organize them into slightly different layers so that our character is either in front of or behind them. First, we're going to start with our character. I've got my character, the robot boy, all selected here. And then I'm going to hop over to the sprite renderer. Okay? And the sprite renderer is showing me what layer this is. And right now it says it's an unknown layer. I'm going to make it, I'm going to keep it unknown for my character for right now. Okay? And then the order and layer is positive is closer to the camera. And then negative is farther back in Z space, farther away from the camera, so further back in the background. So the character's at 2. Anything that is higher than 2 will be in front of that character. So if I go out here and I select this bush, for instance, okay, and I decide that with this bush, we're going to put it onto the sorting layer of 3, okay, and then we're going to take the mushroom, and I'm going to take that one and I'm going to put it -1 because we can go negative in Z space here. I'm going to put that back, and now when I hop back into the game here, we should see some depth emerging here. So right now my character is in front of the mushroom and my character is behind the bush. Okay, so if you have different objects that you want to work into the background or work into the foreground, this is one way that you can do that. So if you've got a background itself, or you've got clouds or different things like that that you want to interact with, you can put those into the background or into the foreground. Now, it's not a bad idea to kind of like organize these a little bit so that you know, come up with a system. Put your character at 0. Anything that's in the foreground is going to be 1 or higher, and then you can kind of organize from there. Now, one other thing that we might want to do, you might want to have objects that you can interact with here. So we're going to go ahead and then we're going to extend this out a little bit. I'm going to take platform 1. I'm just going to hit Command D as in duplicate. And now I've got 2 platforms here. We're going to go ahead and stretch this out this way. Now this is obviously not very nice and tidy, but we're in a hustle here. So I'm going to take this and just slide that over so it roughly looks like they're fitting together. And obviously there's some overlap there. I could stretch them out, but you can do that on your own time here. So now with this platform, we've got a little bit more space. I'm going to take a crate as one of the objects and bring that out here. We had crates as prefabs in our other thing. If we were to take a look at those, and we were going to click on the pink crates, which is this right here, okay? If we click on that pink crates and look at the inspector, we can see some different stuff that's actually in here that makes it interactable. One, it's got a collider, just like our platforms, and you can see that it's got a physics material on here. One of the students, Ben, actually took and made this game and added on more bouncy physics to it. And then that allowed the character to bounce to different things. So their whole thing was like a trampoline level, basically. So you can use that physics material in different ways to do that. And then on top of that, anything that has physics has a rigid body 2D. So we got to add that on as well. So I'm going to take that crate. We're going to add on first our box collider 2D. And check. And that one, it automatically sets up by default to the size of the object, which is kind of nice. So I don't have to go and edit anything on that. Now I'm going to hop in and I'm going to add in that rigid body. And it's a Rigid Body 2D because we're working in 2D space here. It's a 2D game, 2D platformer. So I'm going to go ahead and add that on there. And that is going to have some simulated physics. It's going to be dynamic. We'll put gravity scale 1. That all looks good for right now. I can go ahead and change that up if I need to. Okay, and let's go ahead. Yeah, let's just do that. Let me delete this other crate out of here. There it is, pink crate, and delete. And there's our scene, and hop in here. All right, so on the right side, you can see in front, behind, and now we've got this crate, and we're actually interacting with it. This crate is going to tumble in any kind of space, and you can see, ooh, that's a problem there. This is where physics materials come in handy. You can drop, but right now I can stick to that crate. I can stick to the side of this, and the crate seems almost like weightless. So what we can do is we can go about adding different physics onto it. So if I select that, I go over to the Rigid Body 2D here, and I add on more mass to it. I'm going to make that quite a bit heavier, okay? And then let's put this a little bit further in here so I've got a little bit more to interact. And now I come in here, and I can move that crate, and definitely a lot heavier. You can see it moved, it slid a lot slower. This is where physics materials come in handy. Let's go ahead and just take a quick look at how to make one of those. You can see the Rigid Body 2D has a space for physics materials. The collider that's on it has a space too, so you can add these in a number of different places. So, for instance, let's go to the, let's take a look at that crate. And they put it right on the box collider. Okay. All right, so if I want to make this crate have a physics material, this is how I can go about doing that. We're going to go up to the top here, and we're going to go to, let's remember if I can look to assets, and we're going to create, and we're going to go into a new physics material 2D. Okay, so I'll zoom in here so you can see all that. Okay, physics material 2D, again, assets, and create, and physics material 2D. There we are. Okay, so we hop in there. We're going to call this, we'll call this one bouncy. Okay. Check. And now this physics material is literally in your assets folder. It's something that you're going to come back to and use. Now if you're somebody that's really, really organized, you can take this and drag it right into your physics materials folder, okay, which is part of your 2D assets that you downloaded. And you can see there's other ones in here, sticky, slippery, bouncy, and all that. We might actually go with some of those to use those. So I'm going to zoom out here, select my crate, take the bouncy box one. We'll start with that. We'll drag that right in on the box collider. Now we will take this and we'll put it up in space a little bit. Zoom out here, bring that over. There we go. So we can see what's going on here. And now that'll drop into the scene with some gravity. And you can see it's got a little bit of bounce to it. Okay, we can also, let's go ahead and swap that out. Let's make it sticky. So we're going to grab the sticky one. We're going to drag that on there instead of the bouncy box. Okay, and play. And it's just a matter of kind of, and you can see that time it didn't really bounce much at all. And you can see now it's got a little bit more of a grip on it so that, so that it's actually interacting with our platform. And yeah, excellent. So now, of course, there's the slippery one too. Let's go ahead and try something a little bit different. We're going to go ahead and select our platform here. We're going to go to the main object of the platform where we have the box collider on it. Okay, and I'm going to, in that box collider, I'm going to take the slippery one and I'm going to put that on there. So I imagine that if we were to look at the slippery in the inspector and we zoom in over here, there's zero friction, zero bounciness. So this should actually slide along quite a bit here. And now let's go ahead and do that slippery one on the other platform as well. So I'm going to hop to that platform and platform, oh, that's all of my platforms. And platform 1, okay, and drag slippery onto there. Perfect. We got that all set up. So both the platforms have slippery materials on it now. Hop in here. And now you can see he just moved right along. Now my character still is unaffected by that. Like you can see, he's got good grip. He's still got good traction. It doesn't seem like anything is interacting there. We could change that if we wanted. I can go to my character now at this point. I could go to the circle collider that's actually making collision with those platforms, grab that slippery material, drag that in there, and this could change the entire game flow of everything here. So now I hop in, okay. Well, he's still stopping pretty quick here. Yeah, not really slipping. We might have to, let's see here, is my, no, that's still, I might have to add more gravity onto my character so that he actually slips along there. So if I look at the rigid body, I might want to add, let's try adding the slippery right onto the rigid body here. Yeah, let's try that. Now I'm going to click back into my game. He goes for a little bit longer afterwards, but he's not like ice skating here. Okay, so that's something we can play around with and see if you can figure that out. But I'm going to wrap up Digital Media 2 at this point. Your goal is this. I know you created your first level. Now you're going to go in and you're going to create a second level. Okay, the second level should have background, platforms, different objects that are in there, and you should be able to interact with all of those objects. Now, by Wednesday, you're actually going to post that. It's going to be an assignment that'll be on Schoology. And just like before, you're going to do a screen capture of your level, play through it all the way so we can see all the different things. Make sure you're running in front of, behind objects and all that so we can see that interaction. And then make sure that you get that turned in on Schoology. Okay? And that will be the first grade that goes into quarter 4 here. Okay? Excellent. We're going to go ahead and change gears. And that takes me over to web design. Let me hop out of here real quick. Okay, and in web design, I'm sending that on over here. With web design, we were working in Photoshop. And in Photoshop, we were working with the templates, and we were doing a mock-up. Now, your assignment is completely outside of the realm of what is being shown here. What you're going to do is you're going to be setting a schedule with me, a scheduled Google Hangout. Okay, so you're going to email me, you're going to schedule a Google Hangout, and what's going to happen is we're going to meet and we're going to go through your mock-up. Okay, so you're going to actually take me through it, so you're going to show me the different stuff. We're going to have that conversation like client to developer or designer, and we're going to talk about, okay, this looks good, this needs to be changed, branding here, color scheme, all that kind of stuff. Be ready to ask questions. It's going to be a formal meeting. Again, it's on Google Hangouts because of the way that we have to do everything. So you're going to send me an invite, and this meeting has to happen between now and Wednesday. Now, I am available from literally school hours, so from 7:30 until 3 o'clock. Right in those hours. Any of those times there, drop me a message. We'll confirm a time for a Google Hangout. And this will also, in case you're not getting the information here, it'll be posted on Schoology and it'll have all the details in there. But that's your next assignment, is to meet with me via Google Hangouts. Be ready to actually share your Photoshop design and go through that with me on the spot. Okay? And that pretty much is web design. I'm sure I'm probably going to get a comment from Wyatt here about how he's been robbed of his education once again. But Wyatt, send me that email, and then we'll go ahead and go through all of this stuff and make sure that we meet and have that Google Hangout and do the walkthrough of your mock-up. Okay, excellent. That's web design. We are hopping into game design at this point. And game design is plugging along with their 2D game. Now, a couple quick check-ins that I would like to do. One, turning the game in on Schoology is challenging. The folders don't work. When you build the game and you try to turn that in, it doesn't work. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to have a checkpoint. This will be the final checkpoint for the quarter 3 grades. Okay, and that checkpoint is going to be, you're going to do a screen capture of everything that's included in your game. So literally, you're going to play your game and screen record it. You're going to be turning that in. Now at this point, just to be clear of what we're going to see, and I'm going to have this included on the assignment that'll be on Schoology as well. There'll be a checklist of all the different things that should be in your game. And it doesn't matter what type of game it is, platformer, top-down RPG, whatever it may be that you're working, a strategy game. There's a line writer game. There's a bunch of different stuff that's in there. But no matter what that is, you're going to go ahead and screen capture that and make sure that you include all the different things that should be part of any basic game. That'll be turned in on Schoology, just the screen recording, and then I'm going to be able to see that level play all the way through. Now, when we get a little bit further along, what'll happen is we will be wrapping up our 2D platform games in the next week, and we're going to be making our transition into 3D. Because we're heading into Q4, and Q4 is all about the 3D design of everything. So that's going to change stuff up. Hop on to Schoology, check out that assignment. It'll be posted here right after I'm done with this, and then you can go through all of the details, but I think you know what it is. It's level design. We're looking for an incentive system, score, collectibles, whatever it may be. We're looking for basic animations on the character that work. Your character should be fully functioning, whatever your character is. We should be able to start and stop the game. There should be levels, and there should be some way that we can win the game, some kind of winning situation. And that's what we're looking at here. And that's game design. That's pretty much it. Everything will be posted. Now, I will have something on Wednesday that will focus on, actually I can do that for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll have something that if you need help with incentives, collectibles, anything like that, I'll have something tomorrow that'll be posted that'll help you, and I'll do a little bit of a walkthrough on that. And then I'll do the following day, I'll do something with enemies, because I know a lot of people were trying to work enemies into their game and they're having some challenges there. I'll have something posted related to that. Okay, that's pretty much it for game design. Remember to shoot me any questions. Take a look back at the first part of the video so you can kind of get the gist of, hey, we're wrapping up Q3, heading into Q4. Okay, so now we're on to video production. And video production, let's switch this up here. And take a moment here. Sorry, coffee break real quick here. All right, so in video production, when last we talked, we saw the cooking videos. And now, at this point, you should have collected all of your footage. Let's go ahead and switch over to this. Okay, you should have collected all of your footage. All of your footage shot with the cell phone. It should go through making anything in the kitchen. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich, mac and cheese, it doesn't matter. But there should be a lot of nice quality shots that you've taken with your cell phone. Shots that have movement, shots that have thought about time compression, all of that. And you've got all of that footage. And now our big goal with this footage, because I know we're super excited about cooking videos and that, some of you actually are, what we want to do is we want to take all that footage and take it into Adobe Premiere. Now, I'm working through the details here, and maybe I have that confirmation here. Give me a second. I was reaching out to Riley. Yeah, I have. Okay, apparently CS6 has Adobe Premiere in it. We're going to fix that, Riley. And what's going to end up happening here is we're going to have access to the new Adobe Premiere, which is what I want to showcase today. So I will make sure that new Adobe Premiere is on self-service, so all of you can grab that onto your laptops and not use the CS6 version of it, because that is woefully outdated, and we're not going to touch that anymore. So this new version has got a lot of different features in it. It's way more powerful. It's way more actually user-friendly than what it used to be, and that's what I kind of want to introduce you to today. So I'm going to open that up, and then I will make sure that it's in self-service before the end of the day here so that you can grab that. And then there will be an assignment that will be posted in Schoology that will follow up all of the stuff that we're talking about here with this cooking video. And that'll give you a pretty good lead. Now for video production, before I jump into Premiere, Q3 obviously is wrapping up on Wednesday. And for your class, the main thing that happened in quarter three at the very end was obviously the 10-day film challenge. Okay, I did set the 10-day film challenge as a premiere. It is set to premiere this Friday, and it will premiere at 5 o'clock on Friday on the Red Hawk Media channel. So, kind of spread the word. You can share that out. But you should be very proud of that video. It was very good. And it turned out really well for the 10-day film challenge. We're excited to be able to show it. Just share that out. Let people see what you guys have been working on and all that. That will be actually your final grade that goes into quarter three. And then that's it for quarter three. Everything's all wrapped up. Now from there, we're going to be heading into the future units, and Adobe Premiere is that next content that will start quarter four. So all the editing that you're going to do on your cooking videos will be the first projects that go into quarter four. All right, sorry, I'm talking a lot, but I want to make sure that you guys are clear for the grades between quarter three and quarter four to get that all set up. All right, so let's take a look at some Premiere. Okay, let me switch back over to this view so we can kind of walk through everything. And actually, I'm going to add one more view on here. Sorry. No, actually, I'll stay here. I'll just make sure that I'm not taking up any space in the corner here, because you need this left-hand corner to be able to work with stuff. All right, so Premiere, here we are. Let's bring this up. Maybe. You have a project open here. Okay, give me 1 second here. We'll close that. We'll reopen it. There we go. All right, so this is the new Adobe Premiere. You are the only class that is going into Premiere. Premiere is obviously a more professional software, and it's got loads and loads of new features to it. And just like Photoshop was really updated from the CS6 version, this has been updated quite a bit too. But it's a great time for you guys to jump in and learn it. You'll see a lot of similarities to the new Photoshop, and it should make it relatively easy to transition into. Now this first window is all about setting up your first new project. So when you hop in here, you're going to be starting a new project. And again, you're going to be referring back to this content so that you can follow through, see these steps, and see exactly what you're working on here. Okay, I'm going to hop in, new project. Right out of the gates, it's going to give me this window here. Now this window, it has a lot of stuff on it that if I were going to get really technical, we could get into, but we're not going to get super technical with it. So literally, I'm just going to give my project a name, and I'm going to call this practice. Okay, and then from there, I'm just going to go to OK. All right, let me zoom out. Okay, here is the whole workspace for Adobe Premiere. You will see some similarities to Final Cut Pro. There are definitely some differences. And I am learning the navigation of this new workspace as well, so this is a great time for me to learn right along with you. And yeah, awesome. So first thing, you collected a load of footage from your cooking. And we want to take that footage and we want to bring it in here to start working with it. So I put together a quick folder. My kids and I did a project. We're working on another little short film. It's like a 60-second competition. Actually, Film Riot has got it going on. So if anybody's interested, hop on, check out Film Riot. Definitely take a look at that. I can show you right now. Let's hop over here. Let's just go ahead and open up another YouTube tab here. This is awesome. They're giving away a load of stuff. For those of you that are interested in this and you want to kind of explore a little bit more, this is definitely a great way to go about that and force you to create some more content. Now, this not an assignment or anything like that, but you can see that there's this stay-at-home short film challenge. If you liked the idea of putting some stuff together for the 10-day film challenge, if that was right up your alley, if you've got other ideas that you haven't been able to explore, Copen, I'm reaching out to you right now. This is a great way to kind of like push the envelope and like try different things out and then see what other people are doing. So they have the stay-at-home film challenge right here. Check it out. definitely worth your while. There's loads of stuff to win, and even if you don't win anything, it's great experience, and it'll give you awesome opportunities to get more editing and to also try out Adobe Premiere a little bit more. Okay, so there's my little spiel for that. You're welcome, Film Riot. Okay, let's hop back down here. All right, so we're back in Adobe Premiere. Let's put this back up to full screen. Okay, in here, I'm going to bring in some footage. The footage, like I said, that I'm working on is for that 60-second film. So I'm going to go over and let's see here, basic tile set. I'm looking for that footage here that I've got. I've made it according to our little project here called Clicker. Okay, it's a Netflix spinoff. All right, we're gonna bring that in. I'm literally grabbing that folder and I'm dragging it all the way over into the left side, the left bottom window here, if you can see that. Okay, and my ugly mug may be over that. So just so you know, it's going down in the left-hand bin here. Okay, once it is in this bin, and I am going to move this up to make sure that it's not being covered here, down in the corner here, you can see there's my folder. It's got 4 items in it. This is like my import window in Final Cut Pro. This is how I bring stuff in. And this is a great way to like stay organized. I can literally bring in entire folders. And then inside of those folders, if I double click on them, you can see here's all the different footage that we've got. And just like in Final Cut Pro, I can go through and I can preview. You can see we're doing a little lock and key play off here. We had some fun with this. Okay. And then there he is after he inserts the key. And then here's some more footage of this door that mysteriously appears in the middle of his room. Okay, but now I've got all these 4 clips here that I can work with. Okay, these go into my timeline. Now the timeline is not created at this point. You can see over in the bottom middle here it says drag media here to create your sequence. Okay, they don't call them time. It is a timeline, but it doesn't go by events. It goes by sequences, which is a little bit different lingo than Final Cut Pro. Okay, I'm going to grab this first clip here, and I'm going to drag the whole clip in here, and right away it's going to set up my timeline. Now this timeline, quite a bit different. I think at this point now I can put this up to full screen. You guys can see what's going on. You will see similarities to Final Cut Pro, but you will have some major frustrations with this to begin with. First off, you got your video layer, and then you've got your sound layer. That is pretty much the same. Now, automatically the sound layer and the video layer are set up onto different things. You've got 3 layers of video here, you've got audio that's down here, okay, and they're all separated out. Now, at this point, I can go ahead and I can move these around together, and you can see, just like Final Cut, they're connected together. But if I want to move them independently, I can lock a layer like this, and now I can grab audio and I can move that independently from everything else, which is the handy way of like moving things to different places without one following the other. Okay, and I can do the opposite of that too, lock the audio layer and then move this around. Okay, now by default this view is not super. Hey Hayden. Hayden just hopped on. Sorry, he dropped me a copy. Hayden, hello. All right, so down here, one of the things that we can do to make this a little bit easier to work with, excuse me, we're going to take the timeline and we're going to stretch this up here so we can actually see what's going on a little bit. So I'm going to just take that window and drag it up like that. Okay, now I can actually see that. I'm going to take the audio and stretch that out, and it gives me a little bit more room to work at the timeline. Now, these are a lot of the little things that are frustrating when you make this transition from Adobe Premiere to Final Cut. You're going to be like, where is everything? How do I do this? But you can do all the same stuff, so no worries here. Okay. Now, the other thing that'll be handy right out of the gates is this is one clip. It's really short, but I would like to get a little bit more detailed with how I work with it. So I'm going to just hit the plus key, and that is going to stretch out the clip for us here. Again, I'm hitting the plus key with no other modifiers or anything like that, minus key. Okay, and now that I've got that stretched out, I can see everything that's going on in here. I can drag this back to the beginning. Okay, now if I want to drag both of them, I just make sure that I've got them both selected here. Okay, and then I can scrub through the video with the playhead right here. Okay, and I can decide, okay, well, how am I going to use this? Now, the viewer up here is exactly the same kind of viewer as Final Cut Pro. Right now it's set to fit. It's set at half resolution. You might need to do that on your laptops to make sure that it runs smoothly. If I set it to full resolution, I definitely will start to get some system lag here, especially if I'm working with 4K video. And I know some of you have, most of you probably have phones that record in 4K. So you might want to think about that as you put this together, because you might see some different stuff going on here. This is the epitome of our spring break, huh? Rain, dismal, kind of depressing. Yeah. So there it is. Now from here, I can cut clips. Let me zoom back out here. I can cut clips by using the C key. So I'm going to go ahead and hit C. You can see right away that I've got a razor blade that shows up. Okay, and then I can cut according to that. Now this is very different from Final Cut because it doesn't automatically snap right to my playhead unless I hold shift. So if I hold shift and I get close to the playhead, now you can see it snaps right to it, and now I can cut my clip. Okay, now if I hit the V key, that will take me back to my pointer, and now I've got these that I can take and move around separately. Now let's say, for instance, let's just put that back. I'm going to drag in a second clip so we can kind of see what's going on here with some stuff. Okay, now just like Final Cut, I can grab the beginning of a clip and I can drag it back. So if I know all this stuff is stuff that we were getting prepped for the shot, not going to use any of that, I can drag that back. I've got this big gap, and you can see this is different than Final Cut because in the magnetic timeline that is Final Cut Pro, this would normally, if I dragged it back like this, it wouldn't have a gap here. Like, it doesn't create this gap at all. So what I want to do is, I want to click in here, I want to right click, and I'm going to go ripple delete. And now it'll take that clip, all the stuff that I got rid of in the beginning, and it'll slap it right back over against the other clip here, and now I've, bridged that gap here. That's one way that I can do that. Okay, I can also drag from the other end, of course, and we already covered the cutting. Now, if you at any point forget the quick keys here, C for cut, V for move, very similar to Photoshop quick keys. If I come in here in the middle part of all of this, okay, right in here, you will see the different tools that we've got use of. So here's our blade tool, or the razor tool as they call it in here. Okay, you can see actually the quick key is C. All right, you can see ripple. Okay, so if I want to do a ripple edit, I can do that. Okay, and then there's other tools in here that'll be useful later for us. Okay, so that'll give us some ideas. And then here's the other one that you'll need, the selection tool, so you can get back to actually selecting and moving things. Okay, now that's a good starting point for us here. There's one other thing that I'm going to show you because you'll probably want to do it right out of the gates. When you put some of your clips in, obviously not all of our camera efforts are perfect, so you have to transform, and this is how that works. I'm going to go ahead and select a clip here. So let's go back to my pointer. I'm going to just select this clip. We're going to get here, and I'm deciding that I might want to transform this so that this is larger or smaller here to actually fit in my project. And she's not quite lined up on the third, so I might actually enlarge this a bit. With this clip selected, I'm going to go up to my effects. Okay, and in my effects window, okay, which now is popped up here, you can see that I have effects controls up here in the top. Whatever clip I have selected, that's going to show the different effects that are on there. Now, this part is a little bit different. The resizing or transforming effect is on here, and it's listed underneath motion. Okay, so position, scale, rotation, all those things that you might want to work with for your cooking videos here, you're going to find all that stuff in here. So I wanted to change the scale size of this. I'm going to go ahead and take the scale, which is currently 100%, and just like Final Cut, I'm going to drag that up a little bit here. Okay, and I wasn't using a great camera, so I'm not going to enlarge this too much. And I'm going to transform that by just using the position. So again, just like Final Cut, I can click and drag to get different values here. So I just click and drag right on the number, or if you know exactly what you want, you can type that in here. Same thing for any of these. You can see the little double arrows pop up there. So now I can go ahead and position this so she's on the thirds here, get this over as much as I can without any black showing, and that looks pretty good there. And now we've got kind of a little bit different look and feel to that clip there. Not too bad. Okay, so those are some basics to get you started in here. As we get going, you're going to get more details of different things that you can do because you've got a lot of skills from Final Cut Pro. Now we just have to figure out how to find those skills in Adobe Premiere. It's all in here and more. It's just a matter of like learning that roadmap and getting the different features figured out in the location. So your job here, get those cooking clips in here, start editing them down, cutting them, transforming them, all that stuff. And then tomorrow we'll talk more details about some of the stuff that you'll want to use, some of the features. And then we'll just keep going little by little and use those clips as kind of our experimentation to practice Adobe Premiere. All right, excellent. Well, that sums it up for video production 2. I'm looking at my time here. I'm at 9:51, so I'm going to hop over to Digital Media 1. Let me get out of here. And Digital Media 1, you guys are you're on the short end of the stick here for stuff. So let me go ahead and throw this up here. Okay. So for Digital Media 1, what we're looking at is we just wrapped up our Photoshop tutorial. So real quick recap of quarter 3, ending on Wednesday, heading into quarter 4. For quarter 3, the very last thing that's in there that's important to your grade is your 2 things. You have your tutorial that you've created. Now that was a screen, you did a screen capture. You recorded yourself going through the entire tutorial. You edited it all together using iMovie, and then you exported that, and then you put that into Schoology. And I have probably about 10 of them sitting in there right now. Now, due date is come and gone because it was as of midnight last night that was to be turned in. So at any point here, you can go ahead and you can get that information or get that tutorial actually plugged in there. But with the tutorial, there's some really good ones, by the way. Jeff did an awesome one. He hopped in there. JJ, sorry. So JJ hopped in there. He did an awesome one with this frozen effect thing, where it's all frosty kind of features in that. Amelia did a really awesome one too, with the dispersion effect. Did a great job of like walking through the steps with a lot of detail. Rhea did an awesome one as well. She covered making a picture look vintage, like from a disposable camera. So a lot of great things that are in here. And that leads into the second part and final thing of quarter 3. I'm going to take 2 of those videos and post them into, I may take a couple more because there were a lot of good ones, but you can take your pick. You do one of the tutorials and you create whatever the tutorial is teaching you, and you will be putting that onto Schoology. So that's going to be an assignment that's going to be created in Schoology. Okay, it's going to go right into the Photoshop folder that's currently in there, and that assignment is going to require you to watch somebody else's tutorial, create whatever it is that they're creating, and then you'll be turning that in. Okay, so that'll be posted as its own homework assignment there. And nice job to everybody that got those tutorials in. If you didn't get that in, that's a really big grade. It's a big deal. That's really going to have a huge impact on quarter 3. So make sure you get that turned in, and then make sure you get the second part turned in as well, doing the follow-up tutorial somebody else's, where you complete or create the materials or create the project that they're showing you. And again, that'll be posted in Schoology. But wow. That pretty much takes us through everything here. That takes us to the end of our time as well. You know, at any point, you know, I just want to keep stressing this because this is going to be the struggle, I guess, that is virtual learning is ask questions. Ask questions. Make sure you hop on here. If you can make the time of 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, hop on. Ask your questions. If you can't, make sure that you drop me messages on Schoology. If you absolutely need something right away, you know, go ahead and just Google chat me, set a Google Hangout, whatever it is. I'm here for you guys. My time is, I've got my whole workday basically set up. I'm answering emails, working with people one-on-one. So it's not going to be odd whatsoever if you were to email me and request help or message me in Schoology. I'm probably literally going through anywhere from 50 to 100, different emails with different things with students each day. So Schoology, Gmail, Google Hangout, however you want to do that, get a hold of me. We'll walk through stuff. I just want to make sure that I'm available to you so that you have me as a resource and you can use me to make sure that your grades are what you want them to be here. And if you have any questions with anything on Schoology, you're struggling with any of that content, whatever it may be, ask, please. So send me those emails. That would be great. Advocate for yourselves during this time of virtual learning. And I would say thank you for joining us for another episode of Red Hawk Media Virtual Academy. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 to 10. We'll see you then.